It's 2 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to Cannabis Legalization News, where we explain marijuana laws so you can change them. Today we're talking about, we've got a lot of news coming out of Montana, Mississippi, Alabama. So let's just get right into it. Hey, Tom. Hey, Miggy. What's going on?
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy May the 19th, everybody. We've done it. We've made it so far into marijuana legalization news that you're joining us. Thank you for doing that. So, if you haven't become a member, I just want to give a shout out to our members. We have a lot of news this week. There was news out of Montana. There's news out of all the states that have stuff that's moving. We have understanding of like what social equity is in Arizona. Yeah.
I mean, like how many times it's been an exciting week. Like, you know, you and I, we try our best to we want to go live every fucking time, but it's impossible when policies are always with, all the states, but it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, this has been a great week for legalization.
It's been yes and no. Like there was a couple of steps back when you have, regulations coming out of Mississippi. And so I'm like stoked. Regulations are coming out of Mississippi. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're actually going to have an open license. There's going to be 3 different types of license. Could be great. And then the Supreme Court just strikes it down. And you're like, what the hell is this?
That's true. Yeah. With the 74% vote, right? Like, how do you overturn when a majority of population? But did you see a marijuana moment where when majority of them the people want to overturn their legislator or their Justice Department? I mean, how cool is that? Like, that's how it works, right? Someone makes a decision you don't like because we have to tell these people it's not a single issue voter. It's not a single voter issue. It's a multi-issue vote.
Right. Right. And then not only that, people are just so self-interested and they got the sharpest elbows in the world and they just all are grabbing for everything that they can take. But you know what? Let's start with Montana. Governor signed marijuana legalization implementation bill. And so this happens in states where they have a ballot initiative and then they have this implementation bill that comes thereafter. This just happened recently in Jersey. It's happening in Montana. It probably also happened in Mississippi.
Well, how long ago did they pass this? Because, again, this shows the process being forever because this was passed, last year? And now it's finally getting signed in.
I believe that they passed a ballot initiative last year where they legalized it. But then, of course, they have an enabling statute based on that. Because very often these ballot initiatives, and you see it in the states that have tried to stricken the ballot initiative, most recently in South Dakota, where the ballot initiatives have to be real small, maybe one question. And then after that question's passed, it's then the onus is put onto the legislature to go and create a statute to effectuate the will of the people.
So essentially the regulation part, the rules?
Kind of. And so there's statutes and then the statutes are enforced by the administration. And so the executive branch, they turn the statutes over to the executive branch and those agencies that are in the executive branch that promulgate rules. Thumbs up for the promulgation of rules, everybody. Thanks for joining us at another exciting episode. Cannabis legalization news. You're probably at the edge of your seats.
I know, right? It's so suspenseful about the legislature and the
enabling statutes.
Well, under HB 701, retail sales of recreational marijuana for adults 21 and older would begin January of next year. The half of Montana counties that voted for Item 190, the ballot initiative legalizing adult use cannabis, will have recreational in their borders by default. Neat. While voters in the other half of the counties will have to take an affirmative action to bring recreational marijuana in their boundaries if so desired. Wow, that's really neat, though. Isn't that always a thing, the whole, in California where the county can, whether it's elected or not elected to have this industry in their backyard? I think that's kind of neat that if your county voted predominantly for it, you go to get it.
There's been a lot of studies on this. This is the setting of defaults. And so when you're trying to implement policy, and so there's a lot of policy wonks that are in the capitals of all of our states where they geek out about how to set rules and regulations and all that other stuff. And one of the aspects of that is how you set your defaults. Do you default by opting out or do you default by opting in? And so they've done studies regarding recyclable programs implemented by municipalities. And if you want people to recycle, you just say the municipality is implementing a recycling program. You have the right to opt out. If that happens, approximately 85% of the people will recycle. They'll take it. And 15% will be like, mm-mm. And then, I was going to also blame Trump. I just assume that Trumpers are less likely to recycle.
Well, look, when you have a majority of population, not a majority, like a small portion of people who don't believe that January 6th was a thing, like, come on, man. Like, I'm so fed up with this shit.
They're a special kind of fantasy dweller. And so the other type of default would be that you actually had to take an affirmative step and then tell the municipality you wanted to recycle. And so if you did it that way, then only like 20% of people would actually recycle. And by switching the defaults like this, so when your municipalities or your state legalizes cannabis, if you took turn the defaults to you must opt out, most of the municipalities will then allow cannabis. You see, or at least to start, they will allow cannabis, and then they actually have to take affirmative steps to get out of it.
So this kind of just segues into it without having to go through. We're like, okay, now the county has to vote for it. This just says, okay, you're allowed because automatically. But and also with this bill, the tax is going to be 20%, which isn't too bad.
Well, it depends, and so like that medical's taxed at 5% there, and so like we say recreational pot will be taxed at 20%. That's interesting. Is it 20 on the retail? Like, who's going to get hit with the tax? Do you have the tax then? Is it 20 like on the producer, the cultivator?
Yeah.
So
or is it 10-10, right? Like 10 on the producer, then 10 on the store, or for the state? Or is the state tax going to be on top of this as well? Because this is just like
the sin tax. Yeah, it's the consumer. It's on us. It's like, it's just a wholesale retail type thing. And then, ching, they put that 20 cents on the dollar on, and that's how your $20 eighth becomes a $24 eighth.
I mean, don't even get me started about how much that's just crazy.
Well, yeah, I know. Like a $20 eighth. Come on, Montana's not going to have a $20 eighth for years.
Well, just the fact that like here in Washington State, like a $2 gram that the producer has to sell it for me to buy it at $10 is it just infuriates me.
$2 gram is freaking basement floor low. I don't think that there's any $2 grams out there. 2, 4, 5.
Well, I'm talking about the vaccines, though.
$8 pound.
As I'm saying, in the back end of things, like here, the market is structured so the producer gets screwed. Like the farmer, in my opinion, you would think like would be the superstar of the industry, right? The LeBron Jameses and we all about the growers
get their due. I think the growers I think especially in California, the growers get their due. I don't know, and maybe even also in Colorado, but I think they exploit growers too much in Illinois. I don't think growers get their due here. Like, where's a grower supposed to get his license? He can't. Like, first off, they're training 40 or training, but then like it's so cruel because imagine if like you work your whole life at Budweiser and then they kick you out and you're like, well, I'll just go start my own brewery. You can't.
Yeah,
it's not allowed. There's one brewery license in the state. Ha ha ha.
I mean, like in that aspect, like say you left Budweiser and you were a brewmaster. Yeah, you can start a small craft.
But you need that opportunity to start that small craft. You can't start that small craft in Illinois. There are only 40 licenses, and It wasn't a small craft. It was like a $10 million venture.
Yeah, that's just not good.
Yeah.
Also under the bill, it creates a special drug court to handle the review and possible resentencing or expungement of past marijuana-related convictions, which is real. That's just unfortunate. That should be automatic. There shouldn't be. I mean, like the court, if it's cannabis involved, it just wipe it out.
Seriously, exactly. I mean, like this is no longer a crime. That person should not have a felony.
Yeah.
That person should not have a felony. I mean, these people are becoming millionaires. People are exploiting growers now and brands and people. They should not also be felons.
Hey, but in shit, I didn't see coming news. How about Alabama?
Oh, we need a bumper for shit I didn't see coming news. Let's write that down. Let's get a bumper for shit I didn't see coming. And then that would be another one of those great smoke billowing ones,
Yeah, then one day I could say Texas, but that's not going to happen right now. But right now it's Alabama. The governor signs medical cannabis legalization bill into law. MJ Biz Daily.
Shout out to Alabama. You guys are going to get an industry.
And I love that it was championed by a non-consumer.
Yeah,
we met her.
Shay,
yeah, great lady. The Alabama Compassion Act bill summary. By a marijuana policy project. Alabama on Monday became the latest state in the nation and second in the Deep South to legalize the medical cannabis market after Governor Kay Ivey signed a legalization bill into law. And I believe the rules are pretty good. Like Shay really shaped it to looking at other states and seeing what's wrong. The Republican governor's approval of restricted medical marijuana market comes nearly 2 weeks after lawmakers passed a landmark measure.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty awesome. Under the law, rules are to be adopted in time to allow business license applications to start September 1st, 2022. Neat.
Yep.
So, but there's no deadline for the when the rule is done, is there?
No, it'll be in the next, let's see, 18 months. But that's fine. 18 months to hammer out rules. And right now, it says the law provides the following license opportunities: up to 5 vertically integrated dispensary licenses. So there's your MSOs.
Damn.
Up to 4 dispensary, up to 4 processor, at least 4 cultivation. So out of a state of 3 million, we're going to have very few people that get this license. And when it's that expensive, it's going to be in a very expensive select group of, the people who the country clubs kind of bid for. It's like, bring your money over here.
Yeah.
Those people are going to get the licenses.
Well, what's crazy about the way this legalization is, this minimal legalization, right? First, it's medical's the most minimal, and then you minimize that more to so in the Compassion Act, because this is what it takes to pass those words, medical marijuana, in certain states, right? Like Alabama, not known for being the most progressive, the most encompassing of love amongst all. But so in this act though, it bans smokable flower, vaping products, and candies and baked goods, right? These are why. Just like here with our 5 nanogram DUI law, we add these unnecessary constrictions, and then people like those MSOs can afford to jump into these markets and say, yeah, I can produce just that, because I'm a big creepy fucking company. But
go to the Capitol window and issue more shares. Yeah,
but that's the thing. It's now they broke the seal. Now you can fight. There's more you can expand upon this rule. And Shay says she's not done, because there's so much more to be done till everybody can have a chance to have an option to medicate, with cannabis. It's a wellness and recreational issue.
It's a wellness and recreational issue. And not only that, it is a good small business generator, because it's easier to open a cannabis shop than I'd say it's at least as easy to open a cannabis shop as it is to open a local brewery. At least as easy. It doesn't need to be any more complex than that. But we live in this society that for whatever reason believes that weed is still the devil, or that weed is, and then the slippery slope is an actual fact, as opposed to a rumor that they believe as if it is an actual fact.
If you think about all the first markets like Oregon or California, Washington, even Oregon, all these first medical states, and how they, because when you told me how you guys did your medical, blew my mind.
Yeah,
you guys went straight to
you're crazy.
A medical industry though. You went to a straight medical, like Pfizer type people, right? You didn't give here and on the West Coast where sensibility and capitalism rules. We gave everybody a chance where they brought their product to a store, and then the store had to select it through the discern whether your product was good enough for them to have or not.
Right.
Even without testing, before that was even an option, it was up to the experienced consumer to say, yes, we're going to give you 5 G's for this pound or whatever. I can make a profit.
No, none of that.
That's unfortunate though, but it also shows that success can happen, because how many millionaires are created on the West Coast, man? How many of these people now a lot of them are outlaws, a lot of them had to hide their money, and that's the unfortunate side. And then
come on, let's tell you to talk about the unfortunate side of Alabama marijuana laws that were just debated over and finally signed into law. They have a THC dosage limit.
Man,
not just a possession limit, but a THC dosage limit. The daily THC dosage is not allowed to exceed 50 milligrams. I have a gummy right here that's been represented to me. It has 300 milligrams in it.
Woo!
I would be allowed to have 1/6 of this gummy.
I went to a store and bought this. It's an eighth. And it's flour.
Technically, that had. If we do the math on that, there's 3.5 grams. What percentage THC? 20.
Well, here's the thing too. Thankfully, they weren't smart enough to limit the THC cap on that thing. That would have really sucked for Alabama's law.
Well, I know, but then they have this dosage limit that you're only allowed. You can't exceed 50 milligrams, and of course, they aren't going to have smokable flour, all that wonderful crap that they start with. But it's a start. It is the start. And that's one of the reasons why I don't think that the feds are going to be dropping it from the Schedule, Controlled Substances Act anytime soon, because then it would be effectively hemp. And so they wouldn't be able to regulate it at all, really.
Well, it still comes down to all the powers that be, right? Like in Mississippi, how we just talked about how 74% of the voters wanted it, right? Wanted medical. Like, hey, go ahead and open the floodgates. But then the judges turn it over for whatever reason. And then at the same time, there's a gentleman who had 30 grams in a Mississippi court upholds life sentence for pot possession for 30 grams.
30 grams. Alan Russell, 38, sentenced to life in Forest County in 2019 after a jury found him guilty of possession of no more than 30 grams. That is just a little bit more than an ounce of marijuana.
And this being the South, it's still about control, about minorities.
This is the worstest thing ever. This is like the Mississippi has just completely slapped. Like the Mississippi Supreme Court just slapped marijuana. I mean, they said, no, you can't have it, people. But also, oh, you had it? An ounce? Life. And was it one of those deals where it's a 3 strikes and you're out type thing? In Mississippi, a person can be sentenced to life without parole after serving at least 1 year in prison on 2 separate felonies. Who the fuck wrote that? Was it the privatized prison industry? Habitual offender law. Offender law. That's fantastic. Now, Russell was convicted of 2 home burglaries in 2004 and unlawful possession of a firearm in 2015. So for one more piece of weed, he is gone. He still doesn't move from Mississippi. Look, I would have been the fuck out of track in Mississippi. I'm like, Mississippi, for whatever reason, I love you, but I got to go. Yeah.
But you know what? People don't do that when they want to have a call a place home, man. And again, I think it's about racial control.
Let's think about all this crap when it is 420 somewhere.
All right. And the reason why I'll go on this horrible racist rant, and it's just like today I just got done watching testimony in Congress that for reparations for people who's 3 survivors of the Tulsa massacre, right? Like we're still debating reparations for something that was horribly wrong within our country. Like they literally happened within the past 100 years. Right. Nothing that happened in the beginning of the nations that with recent years, like with photographs and shit. This is insane that we still have powers like the former guy who was in charge enabled. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why we're this hot mess. If people really cared about other people, legalization would just end prohibition, and it would give everybody a chance through a seed of all things. You know what I mean?
Which article are you talking about? I was just reading what the judge Latrice Westbrook said.
Oh, go for it.
The purpose of the criminal justice system is to punish those who break the law, deter them from making similar mistakes, and give them the opportunity to become a productive member of society. The fact that judges are not routinely given the ability to exercise discretion in sentencing all habitual offenders is completely at odds with this goal. So it sounds like she was dissenting. Yeah.
Well, and that's what happened to Weldon. Our friend Weldon Angelos, he could default had a life sentence, and the prosecutor actually is the one that turned around and said, I regret what I did. Even with our friend Chris Martin, we've talked about how he's seen as a young juvenile who was going through troubles, how the prison complex went from trying to make us better, to just keeping you for recidivism. Say that 10 times.
Habitual offenders, they are recidivistic.
But you know what I'm saying? It once was about rehabilitation. It was about giving you an opportunity, showing you why your thinking's wrong or whatever.
Now that looks like a complete giveaway to the privatized prisons. It's like, no, 3 strikes and you're out. And again, you're just in our pocket for the rest of your life. We got a customer for life. And so, that's privatized prisons are terrible.
Along those ways, that thinking is, this bill that's going on in Colorado, right? In redundant news, in redundant dumb shit news, A bill that would restrict teen marijuana use is now at the Capitol in Colorado. Like, what? Why are we going to make these kids even more victims of it's already they're not allowed.
They already are not allowed to. Just to clear the air here. Kids are still not allowed to buy weed in Colorado. So just to be in completely 100% of that, some people in Colorado think that they need to make sure that they have a law that say kids are not supposed to use weed in Colorado.
I mean, so House Bill 1317 would limit the amount of medical marijuana concentrate products 18 to 20-year-olds can purchase in a single day to 2 grams. Wow. Yeah. Down from the current limit of 40 grams. Patients older than 21 would be limited 8 grams. How are you saving the children? That's what I want to know. Not
only that, how many children are on the state's medical cannabis program, and how much cannabis are those children using? And then, is that a medical efficacious dose? And then it would be, if you pass this law, what children would be harmed? And so where's that noise? I don't see any of that noise.
Oh, even worse, they add this redundant or stupid requirement. The measure would also require coroners to start collecting toxicity reports on all victims of unnatural death who are 24 years and under, including those who died by suicide who assess the presence of THC. Really? So Kevin Sabat can create some fucking bullshit report about how more kids are dying from marijuana. And
That's right. The continuation of the search for the smoking gun for marijuana is alive and well in Colorado. They are looking for the harm. They're doing their darndest to try to find it. And when they do, they will change the laws.
We're chasing the boogeymen. We're trying to make bad guys out of fellow citizens. This is nothing. Has nothing to do with the betterment of each other. You're not protecting somebody.
Health officials there are claiming that there is moderate to strong evidence of an association between use of high THC products and psychotic episodes, but a causal link has not been established. Interesting. It's kind of like they're using fear-mongering to tell you to not use weed. Otherwise, you will go insane.
This is the kind of shit when as a consumer and you're smoking, and then people say, well, marijuana makes you lazy. Marijuana makes you addictive. No, you know what
marijuana gives you psychotic episodes. No, yes. I'm pretty sure the underlying bipolar did that one, bro.
Not just that. You know what gives me psychotic episodes? The fucking law. This state of prohibition that we're in constantly. Even someone who's in a legal state. I can't go
to Idaho.
I can't go anywhere. I mean, I can't have dreams of being a farmer. I can't have dreams.
I can't have none of that. Those Mormons that make really, really good web experiences. And so I have a web experience. You're a part of it. Thank you. And then not only that, they have YouTube channels and stuff where they sell things off line, and they have mastermind courses and all that. And they build a lot of it on ClickFunnels, and it's freaking brilliant. And then I'm like, but I'm in weed. Hello?
Exactly.
I
mean, that's the problem, right? You and I, who both have a lot of experience in both activism, the business, understanding the culture, the it's a lot of things in this package, right?
No, I mean, I might have just gotten dropped by my mortgage lender for my industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Damn. This affects our lives. It affects my livelihood. This is my lunch break, and I devote it to fighting this bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyways.
He should be smashing a sandwich in his face, but instead he's fighting for your rights. And those children, I mean, it is already illegal for kids to buy weed. And if they want to create a study on this to see what kids are being prescribed, I mean, it's track and trace. There's not loose grams out there.
But dumb laws like this make me go like this, because you're like, are you fucking? I mean, this is why you have the fucking aneurysms and the little fucking shakings and the psychotic episodes.
That's right. And I want you to bring your psychotic episode to the Cannabis Imp Tour. This summer, we're going to be hitting the road, and I will be next in Chicago on June 24th and 25th. Actually, I'm going to be in Chicago tomorrow on May 20th. Lauren, I still have one ticket for the Cubs game if you're up for that. Nice. And so, we're going to be talking about how to create law firms, and that was not a ball. What the hell? And so, if you want to come out and see us in Chicago, it's almost sold out there. And I got an email today about the one in Michigan on July 13th, 14th. That one's almost sold out as well. And then it's the Tri-State on August 25th and 26th. That one's going to be a lot of fun. But before that, Miggy and I are going to be hanging out in Seattle. And so that's cannabisimp.com. Go there and use our promo code CLB15 for 15% off your tickets. And then come on out to our booth and get a swag bag. It'll have our little tour logo on it and say hey. And hopefully we can help get you into the cannabis industry.
I mean, as the pandemic wraps up, you know, where I live at, we're 80% vaccinated, the county, and things are slowly getting busy again. So this is going to be a great opportunity if you want to like put your foot in the door, network. This is what it's about. To meet people. You know, it's been nice being online, dude. Like as an introvert, I love being online.
But as trying to maintain a podcast between a person stuck in the middle of a cornfield and stuck in the Microsoft campus, online is the way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can do many things online, but in person is just the way you can get
more of an experience.
Experience, swag. I mean, you get a feel for a person. I mean, there is something to be said about in-person meeting people, right?
Yeah,
like,
but then there's also something to be said about, like, you want me to fly all the way? I mean, like, project management, using Slack and Zoom and our Google Hangouts for project management when you're working on documentation, that you really can't beat. I mean, there's no reason that I have to fly to Florida to make sure that we have the stuff edited correctly, you know?
But, you know, in no other world also would we have had Tommy Chung, Danny Danko, Keith Drop. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Drop, man. Ed Rosenthal. Hey, let's go ask Ed to come back on the show and ask you to ask us what you would ask Ed. Yeah. We should make that into like one of those things and see if we can get Ed looking confused with like a joint in his mouth, and then have one of those like ask Ed to ask and it's just, oh, okay. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
How I grows good weed. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Hey, you want to play some Name That Strain?
I would love to play Name That Strain.
Tom's gonna smoke.
Hopefully. Waiting for a Let's play Name That Strain. There it is.
Wubba wubba.
Yeah, that is a pretty strain right there. That is a pretty darn strain, and it is a legendary strain. You can, like this one, I didn't think that it looked like that. I haven't seen it that fluffy or that like fresh. Like the stuff that I've seen came out of a jar, and so it had already gotten a lot of those nice crystalline trichomes knocked off, and it's a little too compressed. But yeah, that one is, and it's a really nice trim job because they kind of go into the little nooks and crannies of the flowers and the bracts that are there, just totally encrusted with trichomes, by the way.
Gorgeous bracts, though. The orange, like just stringy little hairs all over, and the trichomes, how it looks like Christmas on this thing. It's just gorgeous.
There's just a hint of sugar leaves, but it's all sugar, very few leaves. And so if anybody's out there playing at home, let's give them a few minutes, because like if I say like one thing, everybody's gonna be like, this strain, is that strain.
I bet that would fill up my keef jar really, or my little keef really good. You know, like this. I took a little camera into the keef portion, and it's just really cool to see all the tiny little trichomes that break off in the in your little keef section.
Yeah, well, while we're playing Name That Strain, let's do a little bit on what's going to happen here in Illinois. HB 1443 is going on in Illinois. That looks like it's going to pass, to be honest. And so Illinois should have new cannabis licenses.
But they haven't issued the other ones yet, have they?
No, this is going to be it. And so what they are going to do is they're going to issue the 75 licenses how they have already provided it, even though it's, you know, the whole thing is unconstitutional. It's just how much do they want to fight its unconstitutionality. And they're pretty comfortable that they'll be able to fight this one. At least what may happen is the veteran points might get kicked.
What?
Well, again, like they've made this law in such a way that the only people that can access a cannabis license in the state of Illinois out of its entire general population are social equity veterans. So the entire state, who is the only person that's allowed to get a cannabis license in Illinois? Can I? No. Why? Because I am not a social equity veteran. That's an Illinois resident as well. And so you have to be an Illinois resident social equity veteran, and that's it. And so because of that, it is a special law as opposed to a general law. There's no way for anybody just to come in and like apply for this license. You have to be a very insular type of person to be able to access it. And as a result of that, it has liability to be kicked and like declared a special purposes law. Yep. And so they have a fix for it. And that's what was filed on Tuesday. And it'll probably pass because, again, just because something's unconstitutional doesn't mean you can't do it or enforce it. Somebody else is going to have to sue, and then they're going to have to keep suing and keep suing and keep suing and try to overturn it. And so, like, you know,
at what point?
Great license is coming, though.
I mean, but like, at what point? God, I hate it. It's, again, the system. And maybe you have an answer for this, but like, you know, like the former guy was the master of drawing things out in court. Like at what point does a thing actually say, okay, we are done contesting and being this? This is what it's going to be now. Like, is there ever a time? Is there ever a requirement, a burden that says you have to have nothing?
Well, I mean, like law can become well settled over time, but this isn't well settled law. This is brand spanking new law that didn't exist before, and they want more diversity and equity and ownership, and that's a good thing. And they're gonna, but then they have defined it in such a way that you've just been painted into a corner of like only out of the entire population of Illinois, there's maybe like 800 people in the whole state that might be qualified to be able to be awarded a license. And
then how many of those people are interested in being in the business?
Yeah. Isn't that something else? You know, but again, it's like, and then it's a limited number of these licenses. And so it's a racket on top of a cartel.
Yeah.
And, you know, Oklahoma is actually allowed to go and get into business, provided, of course, 75% of your license is owned by an Oklahoman. But other than that, you know, it's just how well can you operate? How well can you control your costs and your margins? How good is your product? How good is your supply chain? You know, like capitalism.
So this now, if this passes, then would it be like the MSOs searching for the best applicant? Because, you know, it's for the most part the applicants.
MSOs will just eat them all up after they're awarded. And so essentially it's a lottery. It's a money grab. It's a big money grab.
Oh,
and these teams come together. And so, like, you know, maybe the veteran points will get kicked, but there's going to be another lottery. And so what they're going to do is they're going to give out the 75 licenses, and then they're going to give out 55 more, and then they're going to give out 55 more, and then they're going to give out another 50 next year. All right. And so first 75 are going to be like these perfect all-stars that have already kind of been scored, and they got a perfect score. They are the social equity Illinois resident veterans. And then there's the social equity Illinois residents sitting at 85% of the score. They get into another lottery. And then there's another subclass of social equity residents that get into another lottery.
You're like, hold on.
Yeah. Like, because those ones, there's this one type of social equity that the other type of social equity doesn't like, because it allows you to have employees, and so they don't like that. They call it the slave master clause or something. You know, they are not using a very fine brush with their terminology on it. They aren't, and so but it kind of makes you, you know, like, the social equity veterans that I know are both white kids that happened to go to the military after they got arrested for weed. So like they lied and got into the military.
Sure.
They would count as those first types of social equity. You know, it's fakakt.
But once the what I'm trying to say is like, so like you're gonna have this narrow application of opportunities of people allowed to do it, like you said, 800, and most of these people most likely have no business background, no financial structuring background. And, you know, it's again, to wake up and go, I want to be in the weed industry. Well, how do you do that? Like, so these MSOs are going to be hunting. They're going to be looking for that perfect applicant to say, here, sign here, you know, Joey, sign here. And then what is the requirement for like ownership lengthwise? Because I know some of it, they couldn't flip them right away. Do they have to stay a part of ownership, or?
The growers had to have ownership through the end of this year, but they haven't issued the grow licenses yet. So that's very quickly becoming, who cares?
What's the transparency on the goddamn rating system? It's still KPG, right? doing the.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like, the state should really have a regulated. This is our benchmark. You do it this way. Let me see your application. And if your application does not comply with the rules, they kick it out and they go, no, you are violating this, and this.
It's fucking dumb, dude. You know what? A bingo lottery is more fair than what you guys are doing right now. If everybody just put their fucking name in a bingo ball and just shook it all up, that's more fair than what you guys got going on, man.
That's Arizona, and it also looks like that's Ohio. Ohio has like state standards, and then if you can hit those state standards and qualify, you get entered into a lottery.
Yeah, but that's after you pay $20,000 for money that you don't see back, non-refundable.
Yeah, there are lottery ticket costs. There are market opportunity costs. I mean, like, you have to be able to walk away from a certain amount of money, and it could just be worthless.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
That's the cost of getting into the industry.
So what else is the bill going to offer?
Like I said, it creates those 3 new lotteries. Well, I mean, 3 new license opportunities. So the only way, and the other thing is, it's so rigged and special. You know how you get a license in the second round in Illinois?
No.
You apply for the first round.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And so, like, there's no opportunity for the second round to have any new people.
Wow. So it's even more limited and restrictive than what I like. There's really no opportunity.
Oh, yeah, because I didn't file in the first round because they said there'd be a second round. And so make sure that you always try to look out for yourself and don't help anybody. Don't, just because everybody else is just taking for themselves.
Well, can't you sue for that?
Oh, yeah, I might have standing to say, hey, by the way, this is a super, specialized law that only appeals to these 800 people that applied for a different license. But, that is what they are doing.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your guys going on with cafes or anything going on out there?
I don't know, but let's check back into name the strain. Has anybody named the strain yet?
I don't think anybody's hit it.
All right. This is a famous ass strain. Like, this strain usually has the number of the year in which Terminator 2 came out after it. This strain is from the East Coast, and other stuff. The
original source of the powerhouse strains like Sour Diesel and OG Kush. Yeah, come on, super nerds. I know you guys got this.
Bag seed from a dead show.
Dude, my bag seed plant's growing beautiful right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we got it.
Chem Dog. Yep.
Oh, there you go, brother.
90, and then there we have it specifically as well. There, just thereafter, 91 Chem Dog.
Nice.
Yep. And so that's Chem Dog. That is one of my favorite strains. And I had finally gotten the opportunity to have it when I had to go to Michigan, because when you're trying to find strains in Illinois, you really can't, because everybody takes their own stock like that, like a Chem Dog, and they'll cross it up and they'll call it butterscotch pumpkins. And then come on, butterscotch pumpkins is going to sell out. And so and then it's a proprietary genetic, and then you don't really get the historic genetics like that.
I'm really falling in love with this. I got some God's gift. It's
God's gift.
Yeah, dude, nice. It really has been hitting me right lately. Yep, there you go. Dude, I should turn that into my head.
Yeah, you can. Remember that one time that you became a nugget of cannabis on live internet?
Dude, that was before I had a green screen. I was using a big tarp. Before StreamYard had a decent, the filter out the face. Hey, Marijuana Friendly Cafe event space opens Wednesday on Tucson's East Side. This is Tucson.
Nice.
And the East Side Marijuana Social Club that was just finding its footing before COVID-19 pandemic shut everything down is about to reopen to medical marijuana patients and the general public. Nice.
Yeah. That's great. And then that was one of the worst aspects. I mean, we've made such great strides in the past year regarding how widely available cannabis is becoming, and especially quality cannabis and legal cannabis, most importantly, legal cannabis. But one of the things that I think would have really helped was the new social consumption lounges that were effectively just killed as soon as COVID arose.
Events and everything, dude.
Yeah, now everybody has their own joint. It used to be and so now we could both be having a joint as old men and be like, back in my day, we used to share these. Yeah, but weed wasn't legal. Oh, right.
There's so much. Yeah, right. I mean, we've evolved in so different ways.
Yeah.
Craziness, though. Harambe Cafe, located on 6464 East Tenque Verde Road, bills itself as Tucson's area's first 420 friendly cafe. That's pretty awesome. I know they had one before for just medical patients, but open to the public. That's pretty awesome. Owner and co-founder Adriana Cottrell said she envisions the space to be something the community could embrace. Nice.
Well, let's see it, because when I hear Harambe Cafe, I just think of that. Wasn't that the name of the gorilla that got shot?
Yeah, that's why I was like, this is an awesome name.
But like, is there a gorilla in the cafe? Like, do we have that? Let's see if we can find the gorilla in the cafe. No, it looks nice. But then I guess Harambe, of course, is an actual word that does not mean a gorilla.
Yes, I think it's just someone who didn't probably know about meme culture. I don't know. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, because it was a whole 5 years ago now. I want you to remember the killing of Harambe happened on May 28th, 2016. But what does Harambe mean? I mean, it has to have like
yeah, there's an actual meaning to it,
yeah.
I believe. The feeling, but
working
whatever.
together for freedom.
Oh, hey. What an unfortunate thing to happen to that guy. Just say, hey, cannabis advocates rip Arizona's draft rules for social equity licenses, according to the Phoenix Times.
Yeah, let's cover this really quickly, because we have to talk about social equity in Arizona. That is the next license grab that is really coming online, and it's really the only license grab. And after that, it appears that Arizona will again become a closed place where you have to buy a license, and it's vertically integrated, so it can be very expensive. Or you try to use like these contracts that they'll have if their regulators allow them, and they very often are more likely to, like an MSCA or something, where you'll have people that are your contracted growers and all the other crap. However, let's go. I haven't checked out the.
Well, I love the article. So it starts off: did you have a low income year in 2019? Did you ever get busted for a small amount of marijuana in Arizona? If you can answer yes, both of these questions, you just qualify to enter a drawing for one of the state's 26 social equity cannabis dispensary and cultivation license. 26 out of 26. Both.
Right. And so how do you do that? You don't make any money and you get arrested for weed. I tell you, it's like the loser lottery out there.
Hey, welcome to Activism 101.
Right.
I mean, like, fuck, a lot of people speak up and do a thing and feel entitled. I do it because it's something to do, but still, it's like some people deserve an opportunity. Like in California, a lot of people got passed up, but yeah.
Yeah, but we have... Diego wrote something on this, and then of course I've been running around, and so I'm working, and so I haven't been able to really see what the actual social equity says. I mean, I know that there's 26 licenses, and then they have a $5,000 non-refundable application fee, and then of course, like Arizona, it's really about just keeping it simple. Your contact information, your business organization information. Everybody who has over 10% has to disclose themselves. So, yeah, you're going to have investors, obviously.
Well, they make a point here. Under the current language, a white billionaire's 18-year-old son with a single pot arrest would qualify for a social equity license, which I imagine somebody's probably wringing their fingers because what's there to deposit? There's a deposit for this fucker. Like, it's like a $10K deposit to be in the lottery, which, yeah.
Right. You can have you just have to have certain amounts of the ownership. You don't have to have all of it,
But again, I just hate how we talk about social equity, but then, especially here in Arizona, as a fine example, social equity doesn't mean I put extra money in my pocket, right? Like if someone suffers from a wrong, most likely they're not ahead in life. Most likely they're in a position where they're still trying to get ahead because every time they get ahead, they got beat down because of the law or whatever situation this is, right?
Right. But then, I still don't really see how they're specifically defined as a social equity applicant. That's all I wanted was.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Social equity applicant means. I'm gonna staff with more lawyers because then they understand. So social equity, it does not appear at all in these drafts. So the term itself, social equity, isn't a thing.
Huh. So this is essentially, is it the title of the bill?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm just saying, because sometimes you do that like a guys where it'll be like, here's the title of the thing, but actually, what it structures is just BS. Like it's not or maybe it's being sold as social equity through the from the legislatures or some shit.
Well, I mean, like even under the rules that came out that I'm looking at are only 12 pages long.
Well, I mean, it's 26 more licenses. I think that's the whole point. They're trying to create this, but again, it's not an opportunity that's a fair opportunity. You know, there's no date for the lottery yet still, but yet they'll take your money.
These rules are not done yet. It's still in draft, but I don't even see the word social anywhere. And so I'm trying to be like, all right, how can you have social equity drafted rules if there's no term for social equity in the rules?
Yeah, like you didn't define the actual, like you said, term of art, right?
Yeah, like a term, and I can share my screen on this because it's one of these things where it just becomes like extremely frustrating. Where you're like, hey, look, the social equity rules are here. Well, how many times does social equity appear? It doesn't.
Now, can you imagine being a lawyer before computers? Like you couldn't do a Control F.
Yeah, I know, right? That would suck. But then Control F, and I have that open right now. Let me just exit it, and let me try it again, and then to S. So there's a bazillion S's. There's like 1,000 of them. O, and then okay, there's just one SO, and that the word on that is sources, and of course that's just kind of silly. And so SCIAL. How can this be the social equity rules if there's no social equity definition?
Wow. Well, because it's Arizona.
That's freaking weird. Just freaking strange. And so this is the rules that came out. When did these come out? Really, really recently.
Yeah. Like last week, right?
Something like that. Yep. And so now it's like a license allocation process. The last one was early applicants. Now it's just applicants. And the license applicants is, this can't be the social equity ones because it doesn't say what a social equity is. And then what is this actual article that we have?
The article's from the Phoenix Times, the one that we're talking about.
Yeah, but what did the article actually have any quotes regarding what a social equity is? Because I don't see any of that in here.
Well, they highlight social equity with quotes. So maybe.
Yeah, that's really it. Go to page 8, though. They say one or more of the principal officers need to hold 51% of equity or the.
No, it might be right in front of me right there, like an attestation from each principal officer and each board member listed according to subsection whatever, subject to the completion of expungement proceedings according to this, if applicable. The principal officer or board member does not have an excluded felony of offense or will be eligible for a level 1 fingerprint clearance. No, it's just there's an excludable offense. Like, what is that? And like, again, it just there's a 51%. Equity. Each individual specified to subsection B1 must meet the following criteria: has petitioned the court for expungement, so anything that can be expunged, aka weed arrests, had a family income in 2019 that would make the individual eligible for the department to waive the application fee for the individual's marijuana facility agent license. So poor, arrested for weed. And each principal officer, according to that, certification of completion of educational training course that includes the following topics: overview of federal and state law, setting up a business in Arizona, including.
So like the board, so that was in the article kind of pointed out too, like you have no business experience? No problem.
No problem. You have to take a course. Yeah. So like, let's go call get people at Greenflower and see if we can get them this contract with Arizona. Because it seems like each principal officer and board member, according to subsection B1, I'm assuming that is the social equity one, has to have go to school, have a completion of a department provided education training course that includes the following topics: what the laws are, and then how business works. Essentially, I like how in here it's anything else. Like they're still trying to figure this out. And it appears the way that they're going to do social equity in Arizona is, first off, we're not going to call it social equity. Whatever we do, don't use those words, social equity. And instead, it's going to be expungement. Has petitioned the court for expungement, which kind of makes you think no automatic expungement. So even after they've legalized it, you still have to petition a court for expungement. And a family income of 2019 that would make you eligible for, we'd have to then pull that reg. It has to probably be like some food stamps, you think, or what?
Like on a system, yeah. But it's just so unfortunate. Like it's just
and then it's demeaning because then they require them to go to school.
Yeah, well, and I think the objective to that one is because as again, you're not going to have business skills, but it says you're bored, right? Didn't it say overview of federal state training principal officer
principal boss, or board member specified according to subsection B1 has a certificate of completion of a department provided educational training. Now, this is kind of similar to what they do in other ones where they have social equity certification processes, but I don't know if it's necessarily centered around an education of the cannabis industry and what business is. But you see, it's right there in B1, so it's B1. And it's only those board members. And so it's 51% ownership, A. So the other 49% of the owners will be like, no, I don't need I already understand business. Here's $1 million.
Well, I think that's what would happen, right? Wouldn't Trulief just like, hey, you one guy, here's a big contract. Need you to take this class. Now you're in.
Why is this class sponsored by Trulief? Trulief wants you to succeed.
I'm just saying these big corporate creepy cannabis companies, but before that you had to buy weed on the streets.
And so it's pretty interesting that they don't say social equity. You have to have been arrested and be poor. And so, like, what do they say by poor? They have the is that in the
like a threshold of an income or whatever,
right? And so do they have that in the Phoenix Times article? Do they say,
I didn't see it, but no. But you do have to have fucking 500,000 in capital.
No, you need the 5,000 in non-refundable fee to enter the lottery, and then the social equity aspect of it looks like it's going to be a while before the social equity aspect is going to be there, because if they have to then go take a course, so first they have to certify these rules, and then they have to have a group of people go take a course.
Man, we're just whatever. I mean, it's better than it was.
Better than it was.
Shit, man.
Better than it was.
Yeah, man. I mean, but hey, funny story. Did you know Dave Chappelle used to buy weed from Idris Elba?
That's a good one. Celebrity interest news. Dave Chappelle used to buy weed from Idris Elba.
It's kind of neat. He said in the Joe Rogan Experience that Idris Elba, according to Dave Chappelle, was a bouncer who was making a few extra bucks hustling on the side. Good on him, dude. I mean, isn't that how it works?
Yeah. They don't pay very well as a bouncer. That's why you also have to sell weed.
Yeah, I mean, anybody in any restaurant, bar industry, I think cannabis has always been a part of, surrounding me, like a side hustle.
Yeah. Let's hear it for some side hustles and maybe hit another 420 somewhere and then see what else is in the news. Oh my gosh, you're going to want to stick around after this. We're definitely going to have to hit a 420 somewhere because Dr. Phil believes something about smoking weed.
No.
And shout out to WebJoin on that for sponsoring our 420 Somewhere bumper. If your cannabis company would want to sponsor our 420 Somewhere bumper, get in touch with me over at Cannabis Industry Lawyer on Instagram.
Right on. Dr. Phil believes smoking weed makes you dumb and violent.
Yes.
That's right. Rare.
Unfiltered, how marijuana affects the brain. In a flagrant display of cannabinoid deficiency, Dr. Phil McGraw has revealed his stance against smoking weed by explaining exactly why he believes it's bad for you.
According to Vice, the world's favorite American unlicensed psychologist, he does, however, actually have a doctorate in clinical psychology, believes that cannabis use will fry your brain, comparing it to opening your computer and pouring water inside. He dropped this.
Yeah. It is a shocking lack of understanding by a man who has a doctorate in clinical psychology. Because when you're learning about psychology, a lot of the neurochemistry of the brain is not involved. So you can essentially just forget about the cannabinoid system and how it regulates homeostasis in your brain and all over the rest of your body.
Well, it's just crazy how, like, Dr. Phil's logic it permeates our society where they're going to blame cannabis use or cannabis consumers or see them as lesser people or lesser or not as capable. There was recently an article I haven't shared with you guys, but that was kind of interesting. That in CNN, there was this guy where the FBI coerced this pizza guy, like some guy who from like with Muslim background, like some lonely American kid trying to find his roots, third generation American type thing, who smoked weed and played and was a pizza guy and was lonely. And the FBI coerced him to like for like a shooting. Like they did like a honeypot where they tricked him. And
yeah, he got honeypotted.
He got honeypotted. And the thing is, it's like they saw him as this retarded victim, which he was. I mean, he got honeypotted, but like, you know, you're a target if you smoke weed as something as a you're a bad person. You're a criminal. You're gonna do the evil thing. Like I know I can do that. You're gonna push you. Well, it's not true. It's not a thing.
Right.
Guy was just a lonely loser. And the same thing with Dr. Phil when he sees all these like, you know, whatever is going on. I don't know.
This is what was going on. It was on one of his episodes. So he was on his talk show, and the mother of an 11-year-old boy who is so good at being a mom of her 11-year-old boy, she has turned to the Dr. Phil show for help, describing her preteen as having violent behavior. He was he was also purportedly smoking marijuana, which again just goes to show how good of a mom she is at 11, not being able to control her kid, but can, for whatever reason, corral him onto a daytime television talk show. And so this boy purportedly had threatened her with a steak knife. And so Dr. Phil took the opportunity of this to make some misleading claims about marijuana that used the Vice disapproval through Michael Verboda, a doctor with Alifa?
I don't know, man.
Alfia Total Health Network, the Alfia Total Health.
Oh,
Network. Yeah, I've never heard of that. An organization that helps Canadians access medical cannabis.
Huh. It just, again, he's trying to point out bullshit semantics with kids. And, you know, this doctor's saying that smoking weed causes aggressive behavior, saying I've treated 5,000 patients and 5,000 out of my 5,000 say cannabis makes them feel relaxed and calm. These guys just fear-mongering idiots. Like in history and perspective, have you seen Love, Death, Robots?
No.
It's a great Netflix cartoon, various animation series, and there's one episode that has this guy's walking through a city, and you see all like 1930s like drug addicts shooting heroin on the street, you know, like drunks, and everybody's on the street. Here in Seattle, we have a pretty big, and I think in most cities have a pretty big homeless problem, like tents that pop up, right? And for us, it's people are acting like this is a new thing. And I was making a joke with my son how like, oh no, we're better now. We just put them in tents. Like you know, it's better that they can shoot the heroin up and do all the fucked up things in a tent. We're not a society that's
care of people.
Yeah,
society doesn't give a shit about you or anything else except for the money in your pocket.
Exactly. I mean, we really care. We have a mental health problem, and we have to acknowledge to treat things that are really the fucked up things. This is why prohibition needs to just be gone.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be regulation, pay taxes. But then Dr. Phil goes on, and I guess like Vice News must have reported on this and disproved through that Michael Verboda guy. All right, so
I see.
What Dr. Phil said has been drawn into objection by a Michael Verboda, who is a doctor with a peculiarly named health network, which is an organization in Canada for medical cannabis. And so Dr. Phil mentioned that on his show, or he quoted, your brain grows until you're 25 at least, and it's constantly changing. When you get to be 18, 19, and 20, it's pruning itself back. When you smoke a lot of marijuana, it's like opening your computer up and pouring water inside. A lot of things short out, and it connects where it's not supposed to, and it really creates problems.
You know, Haterproof says, follow the money. And you know, in this instance, though, I think there's a lot of it just fear-mongering, like Fox News. We can say a lot of shit that scares people, and it's going to provoke a lot of like shares, and you know that's all. Well,
here's the obvious where it's fear mongering, because Dr. Phil goes on in his episode, which I'm hopefully was, sponsored by a pharmaceutical company or something.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, even occasional. How does Dr. Phil sound? He sounds, he's
like Southern drawl, like
Southern draw, and like he's kind of patronizing in his tone too. Like he's getting used to talking to you. He's talking down to people. Yeah. Even occasional marijuana smokers will look at a multi-point drop in IQ, even with just occasional use, like once a week or 2 or 3 times a month. You'll see an IQ drop and motivation will drop across time. He instructed to a terrible mother of an 11-year-old whom she can't control and will exploit on public, not public television, because Dr. Phil is on network.
Yeah. But again, it makes us lazy and forgetful enough that we've forgot to meet for the past 2 years every Wednesday and Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, we're so horrible people that you can see the degrade of our podcast and YouTube channel. Like, we just...
Well, the only thing that's really happened is I've gotten a lot busier with work. And so it's just harder for me to kind of like keep my head on straight. And thank goodness that Lauren prepares the notes for the news. Otherwise, I'd be like, what's happening? Well, I got to get this thing out to that guy. And then also I have a call at 4. It's good. It has been wonderful marketing for the company.
Yeah, no, there's always a lot going on too. I mean, like, I really wish we could chat for another hour, but I do have to blast off. I mean, it's
that's right. All right, let's wrap this up.
Appreciate everybody though.
Yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Make sure you like and subscribe to keep up with all cannabis legalization news. We'll see you on Sunday.